You don't think that?
I'm not going to allow that.
No.
Not really.
Hey.
Oh.
Hi. First of all, I wanted to talk to you about Biffy Clyro being in the music business for 30 years, almost 30 years, it's 27 years. How do you stay creative for such a long time? How do you stay motivated to keep on going and not turn this into a routine?
It's not hard to get inspired to do that when it's something that you're so passionate about and the life that you dreamed of as a kid. Yeah, it's not hard to get out of bed and do that. And in terms of the music, staying inspired, we've always been massive fans of music, and we just continue to listen to all new bands coming out and just try and stay in the loop, basically. And
that sounds very down to earth. We
certainly never thought we were going to be as successful as we are, and I think we're a little fearful of accepting that.
Having toured so much and telling on so many interviews, meeting so many fans, are there any highlights that you'll never forget, or something funny or something just very memorable?
Meeting your heroes is amazing. I know people say don't meet your heroes, but Dave Grohl being one of my heroes since I was a child. We were playing a gig, and I think it was a festival in Norway, and I'm sitting playing away. I think the song was Who's Got a Match from our album Puzzle. And I turned around, Dave Grohl was just right there and just rocking out to our band and going, yeah, throwing the horns. And I almost dropped my sticks, you know. I was so nervous. I turned around and see the guy that inspired you to pick up a set of drumsticks, loving your music. That's, yeah, unquantifiably amazing.
Last year, you released your album, The Myth of the Happily Ever After. How happy are you with the result?
Both when we were in quite a heavy lockdown in Scotland, so we had to take official pieces of paper in case we get stopped by the police to say that we were going to work and stuff. And so we felt very privileged. It's the first album we've done in Scotland ever, which is remarkable. It's not even a studio; it's just a little practice space. You can hear the cows in the background. It's way beyond any of our expectations, and possibly one of our best albums of all time.
Is that also how you would describe your album?
At points it's hopeful, but at points it's hopeless as well. A lot of things to be pissed off at. And I think this album's got quite a lot of anger in it.
Talking about the pandemic, you have since played a few festivals already. How was that being back on stage? Have you noticed any difference in the audience or just you being on stage?
It was amazing to be back. We love doing albums and releasing music, but playing live is what makes our hearts beat. So it felt special. There's definitely a change. People are a little bit more angry, but also a little bit more respectful at the same time, and it's fun right now.
Especially also you're coming to Luxembourg. I'm really excited about that.
Absolutely.
It's going to be the 6th time for you in Luxembourg.
I know, we're clocking it up.
What makes you come back to this tiny country?
If you stop asking us, we'll stop coming, but we've always had a great time there. I love how small the place is. I think we talked about this in the tour bus. We were playing the festival there, and I think we worked out we were playing to 2% of the entire population of Luxembourg.
You've teamed up with architects, a metal band. How did that come about?
We've been fans of those guys for ages. Wanted a strong support slot for this particular tour. As architects could probably play these size of shows on their own. Just an incredibly strong gig to go to. I think architects are probably going to want Simon to go out and do some screaming before our set, but I'm not going to allow that.
I found a citation from an interview where it said, "We care deeply about this and we'll still be doing this in 20 years. So that sounds very promising. What can we expect in the next coming weeks, months, years?
This, lots of this. Going to keep busy. There's a lot of lost time to make up for. And then hopefully from 20 years from now, if the world hasn't burnt itself, we'll still be going.
But we're not going to stop asking for you to come back.
We will keep coming back then.